Looking at the play card.
Atlanta's bringing the big boys in, looking for that quarterback sneak.
Jonathan Ogden started to get the crowd to get pumped up, and somebody caught him and said, no, we're on offense. Tell them to be quiet.
Hey, we can...
You'll tell by the crowd reaction here, and Steve McNair first will call a timeout, the first one of the second half, as the Ravens going for it on 4th down and 1. And the Ravens have called the timeout, setting up this play on 4th down and 1.
It's a good opportunity for that quarterback draw that Steve McNair can run.
They're going to try to throw it. They swing it out to Jamal Lewis. He's got the first down, gets inside the 5. So Lewis got the reception and did the rest himself. A gain of 5, 1st and goal.
I tell you, that is a heck of a play by Jamal Lewis, because the swing pass to the running back needs to come out quick in that situation. It's a little bit late getting there. He knows he's going to get hit. Watch number 31 swing out to the right. He's looking downfield. Now he's going to check it to the swing pass. Watch the move right there. That's a heck of a play by a big man out in space. Jamal Lewis, concentration on the catch and a nice quick cut back to the inside.
1st and goal, and now on the 3. And here's Lewis. Lewis, legs still turning, and picks up a yard. It'll be 2nd down and goal at about the 2-yard line.
Atlanta's defensive line does a nice job of standing up and not getting any holes in that line of scrimmage. They go and they stand them up. There's nowhere for Jamal to run.
And right now the Ravens have brought in Clarence Moore, who has a good size and can play jump ball against defensive backs who are smaller. Number 84 has come in the game here on a 2nd and goal on the 2. And there is Moore lining up. You see him to the left, but tight to the line.
Yeah, find this guy right here and run away from him. That's Grady Jackson. You can see how big he is down there.
And it's a play fake and a rollout by McNair, and his pass over the end zone, and it looked like he had no one to go to and threw the ball out of the end zone.
Well, Moose, you circled him. Grady Jackson tries to get outside, but just doesn't have quite the speed that he needs to catch up to Steve McNair.
They're going to fake it to the left away from Grady Jackson, and then they're going to get out on the boot. Steve McNair's got the perimeter. I don't know. There comes Grady from the inside.
He was
out.
trying, man. You got to give him E for effort.
Hey, let me tell you what, that's a long way for that big guy to run.
Man, anything over 10 yards is a struggle for big guys.
And the Falcons did a great job on defending Todd Heap. And they had Heap defended well, and the Falcons will call a timeout on this very critical play. 3rd down coming up. We'll be back. And the big 3rd down play coming up right here on the 2-yard line after the Falcons call the timeout. And the handoff to Jamal Lewis, walks into the end zone for the touchdown, and the Ravens have their first lead of the game. 2-yard burst from Jamal Lewis, and Morris Falcons are on the short end.
You know, you get down here, people go goal line offense, but look at how they spread out their formation, and what that does, it gives you a softer look in here on the interior. And look how easy it is for Jamal Lewis to get in there. Sometimes, you know, the best thing is to stay out of that goal line offensive set.
Matt Stover with the extra point, and it's good, and the Ravens have taken a 10-7 lead, and it was all set up by B.J. Sam's 59-yard punt return and capped by the 2-yard TD by Lewis.
We're playing San Diego. 2 catches, 2 touchdowns, and puked in between. And that's when I knew it.
I felt like I was playing with little kids and I was a grown man, like Superman.
I ran the fastest 40 at the camp, and I was still 15 years old. So that's when I knew I was gonna be pretty good. Oh yeah.
Ravens taking the 10-7 lead. Jamal Lewis with the 2-yard touchdown run, and it was Lewis who also had that big 4th down catch to keep that drive going. 7 plays, 17 yards, and the big punt return setting it all up. Matt Stover will kick off, and Jarius Norwood back deep.
7 plays for 17 yards. Tough to come by this afternoon out there for these offenses.
Here's Norwood from the 4. There's the speed that Norwood has, and a good return by Norwood up to the 34-yard line.
Well, if we take a look at this play, you'll see Mike Flynn and Jason Brown right here. Double team on Tommy Jackson. They get enough push right here to go and get in the way of Keith Brooking, and that's the reason why Jamal gets to walk into the end zone.
Take care of the down guy first.
You can't get that kind of push there on the defensive line. You have to hold your ground so those linebackers can go and cover sideline to sideline.
Here's Jamal Lewis, who has 78 yards passing, or I should say Vic, 78 yards passing, and 12 yards rushing, and the pass off the hands of Justin Griffith. So not a lot of yards from Vic thus far today in a 10-7 game. Well, tomorrow night on Fox at 8/7 Central, there's only 2 episodes left until the explosive fall finale of Prison Break. It's all new tomorrow at 8/7 Central, right here on Fox. Viewer discretion is advised. 2nd and 10, and we'll see how the Falcons respond for being at the deficit for the first time. Fake handoff to Norwood, and Michael Vick will run for the first down and get into Raven territory, picking up 18 yards and the longest running play for either team today.
Well, they did not have anybody on contain coming in from this side. Watch, Michael Vick's going to pull it out. He pulls it quick because they didn't have anybody there. You see, watch, as he hands the ball off, look at the void right here. There's nobody in that area for the Ravens defense. Algie Crumpler is able to go out and get a Dallas Thomas blocked.
Number 94, Jason Bannon was out there, but he's not a defensive end. He's an interior guy.
And Warren Dunn runs into a wall, and Aubrey Franklin is the guy he runs into for no gain. And Warwick Dunn, who's a pretty tough guy in his own right, getting up after that play. Dunn so far has 38 yards, 11 carries, averaging 3.5. Fewest points allowed in any quarter in the first 10 weeks. The Ravens have allowed only a field goal in the 3rd quarter. That's impressive. 2nd down and 11. Vick. And Vick's toss intended for Ashley Lalee, and the flag goes down. Samari Rolle defending against Ashley Lalee.
That'll be against Ashley Lalee, too. Samari Rolle has a chance for an interception.
And the push off.
Got to be offensive.
Pass interference, number 22 defense.
Wow. Are you kidding me? Watch Ashley Lalee at the top of this. Now, there's no way that that's on Samari Rolle. It's got to at least be on Ashley Lalee.
It'll go for 26 yards, and the Falcons all of a sudden are on the Raven 22-yard line after that penalty. Under 3.5 to play here in the 3rd. Pressure on Vick. Michael Vick turning the corner. And slides down at the 5-yard line to avoid getting hit, but another big run. So 17 yards, 35 yards and 2 rushes for Vick on the drive.
One of the things you hear about Michael Vick when people talk about defending him is he eliminates angles. I mean, you may think that you have him at the proper depth with a good angle to make a tackle or keep him contained, and he absolutely eliminates him.
The defense does a good job of getting penetration in the middle. They know they're going to force Vick to the outside. Those linebackers got to go and flatten out.
1st and goal from the 5. And Warwick Dunn works his way to the 4. Well, since the 1997 season, the NFL quarterback with the most rushing yards each year has been either Michael Vick or Steve McNair. Here you see the most rushing yards all time, and Michael Vick has just passed Steve McNair with that last run. It'll be 2nd down and goal from the 3 as the Falcons looking to regain the lead with nearly 2 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. And the pass, diving, and incomplete to Algie Crumpler. And Crumpler Crumpler trying to make a very difficult catch in the end zone and slow getting up.
Michael Vick had him. He was in a good position. Don't know how he missed him right here. He comes out, takes his time, gets the ball thrown just a little bit beyond Algie Crumpler, but you can see it. Dallas Thomas is trailing him. Just misfires with an opportunity for a touchdown.
That's what happens when you let that run game start. All of a sudden now you got to start playing Michael Vick in that run. And all of a sudden those receivers find a way to get open.
Third down and goal. And Vick with a fade. And the ball is batted away. There were 3 Ravens around. Dwayne Blakely, a backup tight end, and it was Dwan Landry, the rookie from Georgia Tech, who has been in the starting lineup since the start of the year with the key play.
Don't get cute in the red zone. You've got Algie Crumpler, you got Michael Vick, you got Warrick Dunn, and I'm not saying that this is a negative comment about Dwayne Blakely, but a jump ball to him in a one-on-one situation with all that potential in the backfield.
Good point. So Morton Anderson on to try the 21-yard field goal in an effort to tie the game, and he does. So the Falcons and the Ravens locked in a 10-10 tie. Just under 2 minutes to go in a tight one here in Baltimore. Back here in Baltimore, the Falcons and the Ravens tied 10-10. And to bring you up to date on what this game all means, the Falcons coming in a game behind the New Orleans Saints, who are playing Cincinnati at home right now. 1 game behind them. Meanwhile, the Ravens with a comfortable lead. And you'd have to say that the Ravens are really a story that goes unnoticed as you see the scoring drive in the AFC. They talk about, of course, the undefeated Colts, and you got, you know, Denver and San Diego battling it out. How is New England doing with Brady? And they forget a 7-2 Ravens team.
Yeah, the Ravens are doing better than the Patriots. That's what happens when you go 6-10 the year before. You got a long way to dig out of that hole.
Michael Kanan kicking off. B.J. Sams, what a day he's had. Inside the 5.
There he goes again.
There's B.J. Sams down the sideline, cutting to the middle, and down he goes. What an exhibition of return football today by B.J. Sams, and Josh Mallard, who had stitches on the bridge of his nose, comes back to make the tackle after a 59-yard kickoff return.
The only thing I can think of right now is when you have injuries and your backups start to become starters, you lose those guys from special teams. These guys are taking more snaps during the course of the game, but they're also playing their special teams roles. And B.J. Sams is just running them all over the field this afternoon.
On 3 different returns, 1 kickoff return and 2 punt returns, he has 183 yards just on those 3. Amazing. So first down for the Ravens on the Falcon 37. 10-10 the score. McNair up the middle to Todd Heap. And the crowd yelling Heap as he gets 9.
Well, Brian Billick said he wanted his offense to come out and play with more emotion, but it's been his return team that has come out and played with more emotion. B.J. Sams on the last drive with the punt return. A critical 4th down conversion by Jamal Lewis before he goes in for a touchdown. And here's the start to this drive. It all starts with Mr. Sams again, getting it deep into Atlanta territory with the kickoff return.
2nd and 1 on the Falcon 28. Jamal Lewis. There's Jamal Lewis, looking like the Lewis of old, with a stutter step, picking up 13 yards and a first down to the 16. Lawyer Malloy brings him down.
Watch his feet, though. Tony made the point earlier on that he's keeping his feet moving. Keeping his feet moving. He's not stopping or chopping, moving. At times when Jamal Lewis is not running well, he's coming to a complete stop. He's not Barry Sanders. That's not his style. He's a downhill power runner, and you saw a good example of it right there. He still has the ability to cut and move, but he's got to keep his feet moving as he goes downhill.
So now the Ravens on the Falcon 16-yard line. Another set of downs. And here is Jamal Lewis moving upfield. And Lewis scores! A touchdown by Lewis! And are they loving number 31 today?
This is the best I have seen Jamal Lewis run all season long. You just saw the last one. It's basically the same play, weak side lead. Look at the vision, the cut backside, patience, and again, he keeps his feet moving. He never comes to a stop.
We got to give a little credit to that offensive line with the movement they're getting on Atlanta's defensive line.
Matt Stover adding the extra point, and now the Ravens with their biggest lead of the game. 7 points. Jamal Lewis with a smile on his face, and who can blame him?
Here he comes. He's coming right at you. Look at the vision and the patience by the big man. Getting backside. Also got a couple of guys down the field getting some critical blocks for him too. Tony talked about the surge by the offensive line. They're getting to the second level. They're getting the linebackers blocked. And then he's got his wide receivers working for him down in the secondary.
And bouncing off of defenders as he gets close to the goal line.
The best I have seen him look all season long running the football.
I think the defenders are bouncing off of him there, Dick. I mean, he's got some thighs and some legs. I mean, when he goes and turns it from the speed and moving his feet to the power, this guy is deadly.
So 2 touchdowns today gives him 4 rushing on the year. In this quarter alone, he's gained 47 yards on 8 rushes for 2 touchdowns. And you got to go back as you check the scoring drive that it was the sensational kickoff return by B.J. Sams, 59 yards, who set it up. So the return game, as Darryl mentioned, giving the Ravens these opportunities, and they've taken advantage of it.
This coverage team better cover. Don't let Atlanta go and get the momentum.
20 seconds to go in the quarter. Jarius Norwood from the 8-yard line. And Norwood is down at the 33 by Dan Cody. And again, the upcoming big games that have been designated by the NFL as featured games, handpicked to be shown here on Fox beginning next Sunday with the Bears and Patriots.
Yeah, Bears coming back to the East Coast for the 3rd week in a row. And as you watch these next games come up, the New York Giants are involved in all of them. Against the Dallas Cowboys, against the Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll see the next page against the New Orleans Saints. That NFC East is going down to the wire this year.
First down, and Vick in trouble. And Vick is going to be taken down by Kelly Gregg. And this crowd is on its feet. The 3rd sack of the game by the Ravens. They are now playing inspired football. And you're right, Tony. They came out with emotion here in this 3rd quarter.
You don't see very many nose guards going and tackling Michael Vick.
And that is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. The Ravens 17 and the Falcons 10. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a word from your local Fox station. That's what the Falcons have to look at, the defensive book. Ed Donatel, without the headset, the defensive coordinator, and the Falcons, as we start the 4th quarter, looking at 2nd and 20. Dick Stockton, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa. Ravens lead by 7. Vick handing off to Warrick Dunn. Good run by Dunn, and Bart Scott staying with him after a gain of 9. Tony.
You know, history is just made. If you watch right here, that's Kelly Gregg. He's on the nose. He's going to go and read pass. The guard comes down. He gets by him. Now he has Michael Vick in open space. This is unheard of a nose guard sacking Michael Vick in open space. We got to rewind this 20 times. Keep going. Keep rewinding this because you'll maybe never see this again in the history of the league with Michael Vick in open space.
We'll rewind it, Tony. 3rd down and 11. And here's Vick. Flag is down, and they're going to blow the play dead. Bill Levy.
False start, number 72 offense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Wayne Gandy, left tackle, and Jim Mora sees his team with a problem right now. And Darryl, you were talking about these games handpicked for Fox coming up in December.
Yeah, and there's the other 2 big games. Eagles at Giants and Saints at Giants. And, you know, that NFC East is going to come down to the wire. The NFC South with the Saints and the Panthers. Maybe these Falcons can get back on track, but some of these divisions aren't going to settle themselves till late in the year.
And great games coming up the rest of the way right here on Fox. 3rd down and 16 on the 26-yard line. Vick pumps a couple of times. Now in trouble and throws it up in the air for White. And Roddy White making the catch. So a desperate situation, 49 yards after a double pump. And just about when it was all breaking down, Michael Vick flicks it to Roddy White for a big first down. First catch of the day for White.
What happens is when Michael Vick pulls the ball down, the play begins. There's Roddy White. Here he goes, breaking out of the pack. As Michael Vick starts to scramble in the scramble drill, Roddy White becomes the guy who goes deep. When he breaks contain, you have got to plaster covered. That means you've got to watch where that guy is and stay with him stride for stride.
And a big play, first down on the 25, and a handoff to Jarius Norwood. And Norwood picking up 2 yards, getting to the 23.
So watching those defensive backs on that last play with Michael Vick scrambling around, sometimes they get so mesmerized they're watching Michael Vick when they should be picking up their receiver, because now it becomes a one-on-one drill and you don't know where the receiver's going to go.
And it's been a long time since Michael Vick has thrown a touchdown pass when you want it in the 4th quarter. 13 games, and that is the longest active streak in the league. 2nd and 8, 2nd and 8, 2nd and 10 on the ground. Take your choice. Hand off to Warren Dunn. And Dunn tackled from behind at the 19 by Trevor Price as we send you to LA and a game break with Chris Rhodes.
All right, Dick, everybody in the NFC chasing the Chicago Bears. On this play, the Jets are chasing Mark Bradley. Slips it, and he's gone. 57 yards. He showboats a little at the end. Bears with a 10-0 lead, but against the Bears' #1 ranked defense, that's like 90-0. Back to Dick, Moose, and Goose.
That's exactly right, Chris. Bears with a commanding lead. They're looking for home field advantage, which would be huge at Soldier Field throughout the playoffs in the NFC. 3rd down and 4 on the rollout. Vick in trouble, and Vick goes down. Back at the 37, and Trevor Price, the former Denver Bronco, 2nd sack of the game for him, and a 17-yard loss. And that puts them. Let's see if they go out of field goal range here, and Michael Kanan is coming in, and they're going to punt.
I tell you, this Baltimore Ravens, you know, they talk to us about their team speed. I really believe that they are the fastest defense in the NFL. They're a little bit undersized, but when you can corral Michael Vick the way they did on that play with multiple guys around the ball, that's tremendous speed across the board.
And that sack took the Falcons out of field goal range, and the kick there caught by B.J. Sams. So the Ravens withstand a big 49-yard pass. And we're back in Baltimore. The Ravens, who were trailing 7-0 at halftime, have exploded. Great returns by B.J. Sams and Jamal Lewis with 2 touchdowns. First down at the 13. McNair goes to Jamal Lewis as he checks down, and Lewis is tackled at the 20-yard line. 2 Ravens touchdown drives in the 3rd quarter were only 17 and 37 yards thanks to B.J. Sams' returns.
He's just been impressive all afternoon. Here's his first big punt return of the afternoon. Gets to the sideline, but this one, when he went to the left, back to the right, and then just took off straight down the middle of the field. His teammates peeling back, helping him out, and then a big kickoff return put the Ravens in great field position again.
Well, B.J. Sams, you think he'll be a special teams player of the week? Think he gets some votes?
Be 2 weeks in a row for the Ravens.
2nd and 3, and Jamal Lewis is caught from behind by Paul Harrington. Harrington, who is an undrafted rookie from Central Florida, has given a good account of himself playing in place of Abraham.
He really has. He did a nice job last week against the Cleveland Browns and has followed that up with another solid game this afternoon. So, yeah, one of the things, unfortunately, when injuries hit you and the numbers that they have hit the Atlanta Falcons, you find out a lot about the guys that are backing your players up. And you know, Atlanta's going to work their way through this, but they'll find some positives at the end of it.
John Abraham and Ed Hartwell expected back next week for the game against New Orleans. 3rd down and 3. McNair, and it's caught by Clayton, and that'll be in progress. So Mark Clayton with a tough takedown by Omari Lowe nonetheless gets 4, enough to move the sticks.
You know, you talk about injuries, Moose, and how guys got to fill in, but it helps you as a team later on because those backups now have the game experience that they wouldn't have gotten if somebody didn't get hurt in front of them, and it makes you better later on in the season.
Now look at the New England Patriots. During some of those Super Bowl runs, they had a lot of guys out of the lineup, and they generated a lot of depth with some quality playing time by those backups.
The same as the fact that when you play the backups, you then are weakened in depth. Jamal Lewis, the depth can only go so much, but it's working for the Falcons defensively today. They have not played a bad game, and we've seen the same. Remember, Ray Lewis not playing today for the Ravens. 2-yard gain that time, and Lewis now has gained 61 yards on 16 carries, has scored twice.
Remember talking about Jamal Lewis, and he had a backup one time, and not many people probably know his name, Priest Holmes, during the Super Bowl run, who went and got a starting role there in Kansas City and made history down there.
He sure did, and then, of course, Chester Taylor was his most recent backup, and he's the lead man in Minnesota. 2nd and 8. McNair has time in the pocket, and the intended receiver downfield, and played perfectly by Chris Crocker. Let's bring you up to date on this game. Michael Vick hitting Michael Jenkins to give the Falcons a 7-0 lead. Fumble recovered, missing an opportunity were the Ravens, but they took advantage here as Jamal Lewis went over from 2, and then Lewis from 16 yards out to give the Ravens a 17-10 lead. But unspoken here, B.J. Sams, 3 returns for 183 yards to set everything up.
Yeah, big third quarter by the Baltimore Ravens. The offensive unit taking advantage of great field position established by B.J. Sams.
3rd down and 8. McNair up the middle. Caught by Clayton. Clayton trying to break the tackle, but can't get away from D'Angelo Hall. No matter, it's a 1st down near midfield after a 19-yard pickup for the Ravens. They make it go on 3rd and long.
This is the stage of the game where I really think that is really going to fight through this situation because you lose your rotation in the defensive line. You've got guys who were backups that were really only special teams player now pressed into situations as a player on the defensive group. And all of a sudden you're into the 4th quarter. You've got to be exhausted out there.
There's no
Depends where they spot the ball. And for a break, let's check in with Chris Rose.
All right, Dick, here's a guy that's having a couple of great weeks. Chad Johnson. Carson Palmer flushed out of the pocket. Old hammy. Bengals up 7 against the Saints. Back to Dick, Moose, and Goose.
And you got to think if you're Atlanta, you know, you're not watching the scoreboard, but a victory for them and a loss by the Saints would bring them tied for the collision next week.
Well, you know, that defense, for they got a short.
those legs again, Moose. To go and tackle a guy when he just keeps moving forward. When he has momentum, a 4- and 5-yard head start running at you. But this is definitely the best I've seen him run in a long time.
2nd down and 4. And Musa Smith giving Jamal Lewis a breather. Runs for the 1st down, and the Ravens are well equipped. Besides Lewis, Mike Anderson, who hasn't played much today, and Musa Smith, who can catch as well as run. He gets 7 yards. And again, you got to think that the Ravens at this point wearing down the beleaguered Atlanta injury-riddled defense.
Yeah, they're just driving it right down their throats right now, and it's going to be difficult for Atlanta to make some stops. And you're rolling in fresh backs. Jamal Lewis needs a breather. Here comes Musa Smith. When Musa gets tired, they got Mike Anderson to throw out there on the field with fresh legs.
1st down at the 32-yard line of the Falcons. Pass is caught by Todd Heath, and Heath trying to get to the sticks, short by about a yard. Keith Brooking making the play, but the clock continues to run. The ally right here of the Ravens, who are leading by 7.
Just a totally different second half by this Ravens offense, and they all need to go in and shake the hand of B.J. Sams after this game if it finishes this way, because Brian Billick challenged them to come out and take the field with more emotion, but they didn't do that until B.J. Sams really generated the emotion.
Heap has 6 catches for 62 yards, 2nd down and 1. Difference in total yards, night and day from the first half and the second half. Here's Jamal Lewis, who moved